Amanda Stoker joins me now from Brisbane for our regular catch-up. Amanda is a former Federal Assistant Attorney General and a Senator, and now a Distinguished Fellow at the Menzies Research Centre. Amanda, to energy first. Chris Bowen's statement last week that we need to install 22,000 new solar panels every day for the next 8 years to meet our legislated emissions reduction target is surely an admission that we're on the wrong track. I mean, don't you think at this point the minister should turn around to his staff and say, you've got to come up with a plan B?
It really is proof that going into the last election, they were promising things that could not all be achieved. It's not possible to say we will have a rock solid commitment to renewables and say at the same time that it will be reliable and at the same time that it will be affordable. There's a tension between all of these considerations, which is why a balanced approach is needed. Labor has this pattern of promising conflicting things, and if you say it in a glib sentence, then people will just accept it. Here in Queensland, they've come up with something similar lately. It's the Climate and Jobs Plan. Well, let's be real here. There aren't an awful lot of people required in order to generate renewable energy, and climate and jobs are not partners, they are in tension. But they think if they just put it into a nice slogan, people will simply accept it when it doesn't add up.
Yeah, and I don't think people are that stupid. I mean, if you are basically a tradesman, you're running a 1 or 1.5 person business, you know that if you go out and invest in, say, a new ute or new piece of equipment, you've got to take into account the fact you've got to pay that back, and the cost of that will be added to whatever you have to charge your customers. I mean, that's just natural. But the figures around this renewable energy transition, as they call it, are so rubbery. It's they're almost bouncing off the sheet. You've got, according to AEMO, the best figures I saw somebody calculate from the AEMO figures recently, that it could cost the best part of $1 trillion to get to where we want to get to by 2050 by this route. Yet with all that investment going into the system, all the investment we see right now going into the system, does it make any logic at all to say that our energy bills are going to get cheaper, as Chris Bowen says?
Look, I don't think that it does. Those people who try and say that renewable energy is the cheapest energy available are taking a one moment in time analysis when the sun's super bright and the wind is super strong. But for all of the rest of the time, it leads to really a lot higher energy prices. And once you factor it in terms of that more global approach, it just doesn't add up. You've only got to look to the international experience. Germany and many other European countries have suffered through energy shortages due to their inability to rely on gas at the moment. The Spanish have been told to turn up their air conditioners so that in the summertime they're not actually getting cool. And the Brits have been told to prepare for $10,000 energy bills. That's where this path takes us. And if we don't want to get that as the outcome we face as a nation, then we've got to be a bit more creative. We've got to be willing to say, are we willing to accept that Australia's coal, which is the cleanest in the world, still has a place in the energy mix? Are we prepared to be much more serious about nuclear energy? And are we prepared to be a little less blinkered about the ways that progress towards an overall cleaner environment can be achieved?